Shawn with Manic Drive.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to talk to you guys because I got the album a little bit, a while ago because they sent it to us early to, pre-listen. So I listened to it a while
Cool.
ago. So I've been excited to talk to you about it since I got to hear it. So
Awesome.
looking forward to this.
Yeah.
So you guys are from Canada, which my best friend lives in Canada, so I'm a huge fan of Canada. um,
Sweet.
so I'm curious, since you're from Canada and you're a pop band, have you guys ever heard of Mariana's Trench?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
one of my
They're a
favorite
Canadian
bands.
pop band.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like my daughters became huge fan of theirs, and then when they came to Detroit, we had to go see them. So wasn't sure if you'd ever heard of them,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
but they kind of have your sound. They're very different. They do a handful of slow stuff, but a lot of it's just very lively pop stuff. And um, I
Yeah.
I'm so happy you guys did this album. Um, sometimes it feels like forever that you wait in between albums, and then you look and it hasn't really been that long. Yeah, but it feels that way when you run one of your albums ragged, and then it feels like a long time since you heard the last album. So this Into the Wild album is so amazing, and I think my favorite songs aren't necessarily the ones that are maybe what people really like. Now I love Easier, but it's no fair because I've been hearing it on the radio enough to where I don't know what I would have thought without hearing it on the radio so much. But um, it's kind of unfair in that way. But I love Be You Beautiful and Mic Drop. Like
Okay.
those two are like probably because I tend to walk on the pop side, kind of that Bruno Mars style, kind of throwing it back a little disco-y, kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
Al City. Sometimes you guys sound like Al City to me, like the style and some of the even the vocals sometimes go a little in that direction. So those are high compliments, both of those.
Okay. Great.
In case you wonder. So you guys, you did a tour this last fall, just recently with the Small Town America tour with like Seventh Day Slumber and those guys. So how did that go? Was that awesome?
Yeah. Yeah. Always love hanging out with the guys. Obviously. Got to do I think about 17 shows or something in the fall, which was cool. Would have loved to do more shows, but that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes, you're really busy. Sometimes it's a little bit more spread out. But definitely a good time on the road with Someday Slumber, Shawn, Consumed by Fire. V Rose joined us for a few dates.
And then now V Rose is going to be on the tour you guys are doing in the spring, with
Yeah,
Sanctus Real and Spec. You guys are going to be, in fact, people can actually book you for that tour time already. So that's exciting.
yeah,
I love the guys in Sanctus Real. I mean, I love their music's been around a long time, so I really like them a lot. So other than that, though, I would have kind of just asked this. This album just seems like I don't know. It seems like you guys turn up, just crank it up just a little bit, not necessarily volume, but just like the kind of I don't know, the behind your album. Like each time it's like I really really like you, and then it's like wow, I like them even more on this album. Like it's since you guys have been doing albums for quite a while, is this album like been different for you, or what's been different about this album in comparison?
yeah. I'd say we added a lot more umph. That's the industry word.
Exactly.
That's the
I
standard
made
we're
that
trying
up.
to go for. We're like, how much umph can we put into this new track?
It was high on
And
the
so
umph
yeah,
meter. Yeah, the umph meter was
yeah,
way up there. Yep.
lots of umph. Uh, yeah, we just want to kind of open up our hearts and put it out there and see if people can connect. Into the Wild is kind of like an ongoing theme. It's also one of the tracks on the record, but it's just like leaving our comfort zone as Christians, going into the unknown, and kind of having faith in Christ throughout that journey. And the CD, the writing process was like a 2-year journey for us.
Yeah.
So the message, I know it's a message that we want to take to our listeners, but the message of the CD was a real reminder to myself of why I do it and where I find my passion. And we had a lot of fun too. A lot of it's kind of, some of the lyrics are a little bit deeper and more transparent. Some of it's just, like you said before, it's kind of like a fun, upbeat track with a lot of umph.
And there's a thing is you see how big people like Bruno Mars is. There's a reason. It's not just because of like what he's saying. He's usually not singing anything of substance. It's because of the style that's popular. And I think, for me, I have kids that are now college age, but as they were growing up, I wanted a, an alternative to Katy Perry. So I gave her, Britt Nicole, like those kind of things. Like I had to always like look for bands like that. And I think that's what's great about you guys is, people, who have kids that already like the, new pop sound that's kind of, coming out, that it's a little bit throwback mixed in. And they don't know
Yeah,
that, but there's some throwback in there. And, but I love that about this is because, you could set this right next to Bruno Mars on the radio and I would keep jamming to it just the same. It's awesome. And I tell you, I loved Aviator. I thought that was a very beautiful song. I think I was looking at how people were commenting what their favorite song was, and it's like very few of them had the same favorites as I did. I guess I'm a little bit outside the box, but Into the Wild itself is I love the concept because we're at a point where if we don't kind of go into the wild with our beliefs, we're not going to reach anyone because it's so all over the map where people's belief systems and opinions are. You can't really, you can't stay in your comfort box anymore because your comfort box is no longer right around you. It's, politics and everything else has divided so many people. And I love that. And I know that Easier itself, a lot of people really like that song and a lot of people are like emotionally tugged to that song. What was behind writing that?
oh man. It could be a long story or a short story, so I'll try to find like a happy medium and stuff. The writing process of the CD was extremely stressful. I had a lot of anxiety with it, and I think the fundamental reason for that was just because I wanted to be honest and authentic and transparent in some of my songs and throw yourself out there. Like your fear is rejection, your fear is like offending people, or just ultimately not being accepted. Um, so I'm getting a little bit deep here. Not all of our
Okay.
records really deep, but this particular one was a little bit deeper. And I had to kind of dig in and find that self confidence. But while I was writing the CD, like I said before, I want to be honest and authentic with everything I was writing. And at that time, I was stressed out about writing. I was like, writer's block, working hard, being like, is this good enough? What am I saying? Like overthinking it. And then that led to writing the track Easier, where all the stress and anxiety in my life, I felt like every obstacle I was climbing, there was always another mountain that I had to move. And I was extremely frustrated. I was worn out and tired. And but I wanted to be honest. So I wrote down in the studio, I was just singing, like, life doesn't get easier. I just kept on kind of repeating that. And the melody and the music was kind of somber. And I woke up the next morning, showed it to my wife, and I was like, hey, what do you think of this track? She's like, hey, it's really good, but the track's not finished yet. And I was like, okay, back to the drawing board. I was kind of, you're already anxious about songwriting, and then your wife and your significant other is like, yeah, it's not good enough. But,
Thanks, wifey. Yeah.
she was really encouraging. And at the end of that conversation, she was like, listen, just go back to the studio, write from your heart, be honest for it, and keep on working at it. She said, like, Jesus has given you strength for moments like these, like this. And that kind of resonated with me. She was absolutely right. The song wasn't finished yet because there was that message of hope of just asking for Christ's strength throughout the songwriting process. And that's where the song kind of found its completion. It's like, life is not always easy. I don't think even as Christians we can pretend that at church with a fake smile. Life isn't always just like handed to us. Good things aren't always just happening. And that's a real thing even for us as artists. And I want to express that. And all we need to do is ask for Christ's strength. It's available to us. Where a lot of Christians are familiar with Philippians 4:13. I can do all this through Him who gives me strength. We've heard that a billion times, but it's moments like that we need to be reminded to ask for Christ's strength. And I think a lot of people connected with that, and it was a scary thing to kind of throw out there, but a lot of people kind of resonated with the message of easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, those moments, like you were talking about just in the songwriting, it's that last minute oomph you need sometimes to push you through that block, whether it's just your mental fog or it's a spiritual one. There's those times where you get in your head and you just don't know how to push out of the situation, or your emotions overload you, and you just need that one thing, whether it's having a good wife that knows you're not done with your song, or or it's just an encouraging word. Or for people, a lot of people, you can tell with your music, hearing a song, hearing those lyrics to Easy, or or some of your other songs as well. um it's that I love that song. What was it? Save Your Life, that you guys did on your last album.
Okay.
Like that's
Yeah, it's called Save a Life.
Save a Life. Okay. I thought I had it wrong just a little bit, but I'm going off my memory, so I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, I mean, it's those times I wonder, like, with you guys, you've been making music with your brother for a long time. I think about you guys and the fact that I know me and my brother, like, we wouldn't make the first CD. We'd get past maybe one song before I was ready to strangle him. But that's a brother sister rivalry thing. But how is it? I mean, you guys have been doing music together for over a decade, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
how is
Yeah,
that? Like,
the dynamic of the brothers is like it's an essential one. We talk about this quite a lot in interviews. People are like, "What's it like working with your brother?" And between family and stuff, there's a lot of support. There's a lot of honesty, even if we don't want to hear it. That's so important when you're working on expressing yourself. And your brother's like, "That idea is dumb,"
yeah,
and you don't
he
take
can talk to you like
because
that.
you know where he's coming from.
He's
It's coming from a good place. So we bicker all the time, just as family does. But it's because we believe in the ultimate purpose of what we're saying here. We both want the best for each other, and I think we recognize that. Luckily we don't throw fist fights or something on the road. He's a little bit bigger than I am, so I know I'd probably lose. So we don't go there. But yeah, it's kind of like a critical dynamic having people in your life, like family, that you get to kind of run through this journey with.
Yeah. I think with brothers too, you guys can like roll around and beat each other up, and then it's all over. With If you throw a girl into the dynamic, like with me and my brother, then he's gonna make me cry, then he's gonna feel bad just long enough to throw it at me again. So I think when it's two guys, you guys can just duke it out, and then you're fine, and everything goes on. You throw a woman in there, and our emotions just, throw everything into chaos. I'm right because you're married.
I'm going to say no comment.
Yeah,
I love our female listeners. They're the best.
That's the safest thing to say. That's the right answer always. My wife is always right. Well, and I don't think people realize I worked with a lot of artists like behind the scenes, and I don't think people realize how hard it is to make an independent album. Like, and this being a fully independent album, what was for you guys like? What This is the second one you've done. Like, how hard was this for you guys, and what do you think the struggle and the way that the industry is right now? Like, what do you think the challenges are? That's a long answer, I know.
There's a lot of uphill battles.
Yeah.
So without going too deep or going on a rant, it took us an extra probably year on working on this record just because we're so involved with this. I think to compete with, like you said, Bruno Mars, if you want your product to be on that level, it takes either a lot of time
or a lot of money. Yep.
And, Bruno Mars obviously has quite a bit of money and has an amazing team of producers, songwriters, engineers, the whole shebang. With Manic Drive, obviously, we got to be a little bit smarter with our money, which means we got to throw a lot of time into it. And so the process took like an additional like year and a half and I wouldn't blame the independent artist aspect of it. I would just say we wanted to be involved with it. It's, our art, our message. We want to be as relevant as you can and unique in the Christian industry as well. Be something, offering something that not everybody else is. So if we're bringing in the same songwriters or producers or something, I think that would kind of force us into, let's say, quote unquote, the Christian sound, which there's a lot of great music there. I think our purpose is just in the other direction. So, yeah, I'm not sure if that answered your question. I warned you about me going on rants, but I hope I got close to answering your question.
I'm from Texas originally, and we rant on a regular basis. So, yeah, you're cool with me. Don't worry about that. Okay. One of the things I was noticing though, as the time that you spent in it was obviously worth it because the reviews have been really good because I liked it and then everyone else decided to. So you can
you're
thank
the
me.
first. Everybody just liked the fact that you liked it.
Exactly. They're just they're pack followers, and I understand that. They wait to see what I'm going to say. But, I saw like new release today. I used to be new release Tuesday. I never get that right. But like they give it 5 stars and like you're up on Billboard. Like last time I saw you were like in the top 10 on Easier. I mean, it's doing really, really well. So, I mean, if you look around on Billboard on the Christian aspect only, you don't see a lot of independents. There's very few independents that end up in the top 20 billboards every week, So, I mean, kudos. I mean, this album is doing so well in that respect that everybody is noticing the kind of time that you put into it because it is a really great product in the end. So it was worth, I know it's time away from your family and it's, that's stress too, just the stress of financially and the time and all that, the family has to go through it with you. And that's very, very hard. So I'm curious, do you guys, I told you my favorite songs. Do either one of you have your favorite songs on the project or you afraid to say?
Your own music is kind of like your own babies. You don't really pick favorites. Actually, that's a lie.
That's a lie. My son's my favorite. Yeah, I got a boy and 2 girls, and he was so much easier to raise. So he's my favorite. I'm just kidding. Not really. He knows I am.
Man. So I would say Easier was one of the songs that meant the most to me. And I was a little bit nervous, even putting out there. And then all of a sudden it becomes a radio single, and we're like, okay, now thousands of people are listening to this. That's kind of crazy. And it was a huge relief to kind of just have faith in Christ and being like, hey, this is how I feel. Should I say anything?
Yeah.
Christ just kind of opened up the doors and was like, yes, because there's more people in here that feel the exact same way you do. So that was a huge leap of faith for me as just a Christ follower, doing something that took a little bit of courage. And I think that radio single did so well because, as an independent artist going against the current, a lot of people in radio, that's not a very popular message that you hear on Christian radio very often.
Right.
And I think it resonated not only with the listeners, but people at radio were reaching out to me, program directors or people that would just, MC on or DJ on the radio. And these people were saying, thank you for saying that. Like, I can connect with you. Like, I struggle. And sometimes you can't let people know that, especially if you're kind of on a pedestal or a podium. So, yeah, just saying that, having people encouraged by that, I think it kind of gave me purpose, which was cool.
And that keeps you motivated. Like, that keeps your engine running for the next tour and the next song you write, correct? Like, that feeds you when people feed into you like that.
You need some encouragement.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, hey, all the numbers and all the, charting on billboards and stuff like that. That's cool, but I really don't want to focus on it. I really feel more encouraged when, people are just like, hey, that means something to me. That's a great song, and I connect with it. That's huge. So however God uses the song and whatever success it sees as kind of like a side effect. I'm cool with, but ultimately, I just want to share my heart.
I think, well, and it's a song like Easier. I think people are resonating with the message of the song, so it they tap into like their personal experiences, and I think that I tell people all the time, what no matter what ministry you're in, you can't just keep writing checks on you know your Holy Spirit account. Like, you can't just keep writing checks. You have to put money, put currency back into your Holy Spirit bank, and whether that's just not just time with the Word and with God, but also to have people encourage you, to pray for you, or to tell you encouragement, and the stories that people share, that they say this song. I grew up with Bart Millard, and he did after he did I Can Only Imagine, people would walk up to him and say, I lost my job and I heard I Can Only Imagine and it got me through it. And I'd be like, what? That has nothing to do with that song, but it was about the song was just emotional in general, and it hit them at the right time where they felt like it was just that one more piece of oomph they needed that day or that week, and I think that
Yeah,
it's songs like Easier. It's funny because I won't reveal how old I am, but I already said I have kids like in their early 20s. So unless I was like 10, I'm already in my 40s, right? So um the thing is back when when Christian music, I started getting involved with it, it was more melody driven, and you notice the songs that are really popular get more lyric driven now. The slower the song, the more lyric driven it has to be, because that's what people need right now. I think they need, when the slower the song, the more they need to connect to it. And I think you have a good variety of all those things, because there's some great, like, totally just jamming out songs, and then there's some really beautiful ones. I think Aviator is a beautiful song. you know, I mean, like I said, Easier, that one wasn't fair because I started listening to the album, but at the same time it started getting played on the air. So, it was
yeah,
a little bit hard to gauge. I probably would have liked it about the same or more had I just heard that first. But, you know, I'm just more I'm like Seventh Day Slumber and Bert Nicole, like throw all you guys together, like that's my kind of tour. That's why I love Winter
awesome.
Jam and things like that. So we got to get you guys on Winter Jam, like because you guys would be so awesome on that. I
Yeah, make it happen.
well, if
Come
I do
on,
make it
just
happen, I
make
get
a
to
phone call.
if I make it happen, I get to come on stage and sing with you. So, and I get to do the
Okay,
mic drop at the end.
okay, perfect.
Well, and so everybody knows, they can book you if they want to for the spring with Sanctus Real, V-Rose, and Spec, which they can email info@selectentertainmentgroup.com. I'm just going to put that out there because there's maybe
Yeah,
some people that would like to have you guys come out to their city or their church or their school or wherever they want you to come. And,
for sure.
I'd love to have you guys do some traveling, especially to Michigan. You're not that far away. Um,
I know.
just cross the border. Canada's
Yeah.
not really that big. I mean, it
Well,
is.
in size, we're huge, but in
You're
population,
huge.
there's I think there's only 20 of us, and my brother and I make up 10%, I guess.
Yeah, it's just a lot of caribou in between. Like, there's a
Yeah,
lot of land. Yeah, it really is huge when you look at it. When people think, oh, you just because we just opened it. I work with UCB Canada, and we just opened a new station in Windsor, and people are like, well, Canada's just 30 minutes away. Well, not all of Canada, like Windsor is, but they're like, oh, we'd love to go to Toronto when they come see me in Detroit. And I'm like, you do know how long that would take, right? Like, you know, Google map that for me and then call me back. But
it's only 4 hours or something
it's
from
something like
Detroit.
that. Yeah, it's not like 30 minutes or anything, but um
No.
you know who you need to do a tour with is one of my favorite people is Jason Dunn. Like, he's one of my good
Okay, cool.
friends, and he's so awesome. And he does everything from rock to, like, he'll bring it down, kind of like you guys. But he's got that like more punk rock voice still, still left
Yeah.
from early Hawk days. But man, yeah, now
Yep.
that one I actually could hook up. I can't hook up. I can't really probably hook up Winter Jam. I can bully them on their page. I can start that going. But other than that,
Cool.
for go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you.
You're not,
I'm like,
yeah,
cool,
yeah.
cool,
Winter,
awesome.
we'll do them all, right? Winter Gym,
Yeah,
just hook
I'm
them
down.
all up. So outside of that, for 2018, you got this tour going on, with Sanctus Real and V Rose. What else do you guys have planned for this next year? Are you gonna just keep writing and keep that whole process going?
Yeah, it's so hard. You only know what's happening about 6 months in advance. So I know we're going to be doing that tour with Think This Real. That's going to be a blast. Right now, we're enjoying a little bit of downtime because we just released that CD, and we just came off the road with some Base Lumber and Shawn
Right.
and Consumed by Fire. So we're taking a little bit of breather, but behind the scenes, we're working on a couple music videos that should be released that should be good. We're taking those to the next level and working on that tour. Then it's going to be summer festivals from May, June, July, August, September, and then we'll see what happens in the fall. Hopefully another tour.
Please come to Michigan. I can hook that up too. There's two major festivals here. We have the Big Ticket Festival and Unity Festival. One's up
We
there.
played at both of them multiple times. So
See, that's exactly where I know you were at Big Ticket for sure not too long ago. Like you got to
yep,
come back. So, I'm
we'll do.
so excited about the new album. Thank you for putting it out because it's fantastic. And I'm not just saying that because I set the trend. I really, really, really like this album a lot. And thank you for taking time to talk to me. And you guys have a wonderful holiday, a blessed holiday with your families. I'm glad you have some downtime. This is a perfect time to have downtime, isn't it? I mean, you can just enjoy the
Yeah,
holiday. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I will
Maybe
see you
work on a
somewhere.
Christmas CD.
There you go for next year. Yeah,
Okay,
because you got to
awesome.
release it in like October. So,
Yeah,
well, we will see you on the
awesome.
road somewhere in 2018. So thank you so much again,
Appreciate it.
Shawn. Okay.
Awesome. Have
Bye.
fun.